Right. Okay, Cecilia, I think we're going to start now. I think we've waited long enough. I just want to say good evening for people in, is that Malaysia? Am I right? Yes. Okay. And also good afternoon for some people in South Africa. And I cannot say how wonderful it is today that we're able to actually host this event together with Cecilia from Malaysia. Just say thank you so much for people making time today. So first of all, let's just explain what's going to happen today. Obviously, Cecilia is going to be presenting something, a very, very important subject around stigma. And I think we had to think very hard, what is it that we can start with? So we thought stigma is one issue which is a barrier to so many things for a lot of people. So we thought it would be a good way to start. But obviously, she's going to talk a lot about why there's stigma around dementia. So we are going to be recording this event. And if people can just put their names in the chat so that we know who is who and which country they're from, and hopefully we'll be able to share some of the slides that Cecilia will be sharing with all of you. Towards the end, we will have the opportunity of asking questions from the, I have to multitask while I'm talking. I have to make sure that I admit some people here. So there will be the opportunity for people to be able to ask questions at the end of the session. And we'll also share with you other sessions that we're going to be having in the next few weeks, which we really would like you to be able to be part of it. Yeah. So that's about it, really. So Cecilia asked me if it would be okay for people to have a group photo. I don't know how that is done, but if people do not want their faces to be shown, that's fine. You know, they can put their cameras on. So, Cecilia, I don't know, or Jess, I don't know how you do it, but then I was asked if it's okay for people to have for someone to have a group photo so that we can record this event.
So we're gonna have group photo now?
Yeah, so those who are interested to have your photos taken, please switch on your camera so that we can take your group photo now. Thank you.
Okay.
So Jess is the photographer. Tell us when you're taking.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay. It is 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, great. Awesome.
Okay. Okay, so thank you so much, Jess. So just before I allow Cecilia to come in, I just want to share with people about who we are as a foundation. The foundation is called Bessie McCartney Foundation. We are in South Africa. This is where the base is. That's where we are working. And I've got Matanda Mabizela, who is in the background there, if she can wave her hand. So she is actually the machine behind everything. She's the one who's actually on the ground in South Africa, in Lamontville, KZN. If people know what Durban is, everybody knows about Johannesburg and Cape Town. Very people know about Durban, KZN. So this is where the organization is. Bessie McCartney, that was my mother who lived with dementia, and she passed on in 2012. So because of the lack of information and little awareness about this illness, I decided to actually set up this organization in her name so that I can actually support my community in South Africa to learn about dementia so that they can be able to support their loved one, but also know how to care for themselves. Because in South Africa, unfortunately, we don't have any dementia policy. We don't have any public services that support people living with dementia. We have a long way to go. So we felt that if we started something, it's a very small organization, NGO, like I said, we can actually make a difference at the grassroots level by working with carers, by working with the communities to educate them around the illness, but most importantly, to be able to support them to manage the illness. So we do a lot of awareness on radio in this way, leaflets, door to door. We do different kind of things so that people can be informed about this illness, because as we all know that it has a devastating impact on families, on the community. And even though there's no cure, but we believe that you can still live well with this illness, with the support. So this is the beginning of, we are hoping as a community, as people from different countries, we can come together and share information, share good practice, learn from each other. So it's not just about us being clinicians, because I live in the UK, that's where I work, as a family and systemic psychotherapist, working with older people with dementia and functional mental health. But my passion obviously is low-income countries. So this is what this organization is about, so people can go online and check. Okay, so now I would like to hand over to Cecilia. Cecilia, thank you so much for being able to do this presentation. So hopefully we can have more in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zetu. Let me just try to share my slides. Hope it works. Is it working?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, but before I proceed, I would like to express our gratitude to our friends from South Africa. So in Malaysia, it is 8 p.m. and in Africa, it's about 2 p.m. So good afternoon to our friends from Africa, and good evening to our friends from Malaysia. Indeed, I feel very privileged, and I feel very touched when Zetu reached out to me and asked if we could have a sharing sessions. And I think that this is the beginning of, I hope, many more collaborations in the future. So I shall proceed. Right. So the topic today is about stigma and how prevalent it is. And I want to share it from the perspective of the Malaysian experience, having been involved in this field for the past 20 years. And for the past couple of years, very specifically in the area of dementia, stigma is one of the most prevalent issues that we face on a daily basis. Yeah. So I like to start with this. When I am a columnist at one of these magazine called Herald in Malaysia, and this is one of the articles that I wrote. Because my column is called Dancing with Dementia. So the first article I wrote was Why Dancing with Dementia. So I was sharing about the dance. When you are partnering with a person living with dementia, it is like a dance. You dance together. It's like a rhythm. And so when I wrote that, I got a call. Actually, I got a someone who contacted me and was very angry with me and gave me some nasty comments saying that this is rubbish because people living with dementia are gone. They are demented. They cannot do anything. They are hopeless people. So she totally regard as whatever that I've written in this article as total rubbish. So that's what I mean by it is really very deeply seated and so prevalent in the Malaysian society on a daily basis. So we all know this, that there is going to be an increase of cases, dementia cases all over the world. This is global. And here in Malaysia, we can see a projected increase of cases of dementia. And the question is whether we in Malaysia, are we prepared? So I think we know the answer. I don't have to answer that. And this is quite recent. This is in April this year, when this actually went viral. This is a case of abuse, and it happened in a care facility in Malaysia, which is actually very close to where I'm from, my hometown. And this happened to a person. You can see this is the person, the resident, and this is the care provider, actually a professional. And there was a case of abuse, and this is actually a video that has gone viral. And the person here is actually living with dementia, which is Alzheimer's. And so this is one case that has gone viral, but I always say there's one case, there are many hundreds of cases that is going on every day behind closed doors in healthcare settings, facilities, as well as in the homes of people. And the same time when it happened to Malaysia, this abuse also happened outside Malaysia. This is in America, and the same week also happened in Australia. So I suppose when it comes to dementia, we are very susceptible. We are very prone to abuse, not in Malaysia, but worldwide. People living with dementia are at a very high risk of experiencing abuse. So let's go to what dementia is. Let's talk about the myth. Okay, a lot of us in Malaysia, and I think worldwide, we feel that when you have episodes of forgetfulness, we equate that with dementia, and so we often think that dementia is normal part of aging. Dementia is part of aging to be expected. So that is one of the myths. Dementia is not normal part of aging. As you can see, this is the PET scan imaging of a person 20 years old, and this is a PET scan of a brain of an 80 years old. And if you compare both brains, you can see that it is not much different. Yeah, it's quite similar. So this is just to show that dementia, it is not a normal part of aging. And this is another myth that I always get whenever I refer a case of people living with dementia to a facility. The first question that they ask me all the time without fail is, are they aggressive? So we assume that people living with dementia are all aggressive, or they will get aggressive apart one day, and it's to be expected. And we have this term that is very famous, we call the BPSD, which is behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia. And it was believed that it is due of a pathology. So this is one of the reasons why when I refer case, people will ask me, oh, it's case of dementia. Is he or she aggressive? It's because we kind of equate BPSD with dementia. So it becomes a pathology. Now, this is another myth. So the new thinking that is only 10%, the rest of the 90% are actually their ways of expressing themselves, asserting their desire, and expressing their ways of their needs and communicating their needs with whatever they have left in their brain, right? So another myth is that dementia is being forgetful. So we always simplify it. Dementia equals to memory loss. It equates to not remembering things. As you know that our brain has got a huge function. It is the CEO. It is the boss of everything. It controls pretty much everything. Our existence today here, as we are looking, coming together and having this sharing session, is because our brain is functioning. So our brain is more than just holding on to memories. It has controls everything. So dementia, so when we have brain failure, which is dementia, it is more than just being forgetful. Yeah, because the brain is more than that. Right? And this is another myth, this is another reaction that I get all the time. All people with dementia are all the same, and we just categorize them and put them in a box, and we label them as aggressive, as a zombie, as demented, not human. And one of the reasons why I started on this journey is because of a very personal experience. A friend of mine, and I will quote this story because it's very heartwarming, and it's also very gut-wrenching. A dear friend of mine who was a teacher, and then upon retirement went back to the love of his life, which is dancing. So I will call him Charles, and that is his studio name. And he has got this love for dancing. He's always loved dancing, and I used to dance around Malaysia and he got many awards, and he won many dancing tournaments and all that, and he enjoys it. So then he started a dance studio when he retired, you know, in Malaysia. And he was the one who actually introduced line dancing in Malaysia. And he actually groomed up a lot of line dancer instructors in Malaysia. So he was a kind of a guru, a teacher of line dancing. And you know, and he started many sessions, and he was very busy. So one day he felt that he was experiencing some changes, and he went to see his doctor and was diagnosed to have Alzheimer's. You know what? The next day he stopped dancing, and he stopped teaching, and he closed down all his dance studio. And I asked him, Charles, you know, I was very curious because it's ironic, because the day before he was dancing away, he was teaching, and just after his diagnosis, he stopped everything immediately. So I was very curious, and I thought that it could be because he was afraid of his balance, he was afraid of falling down, he was afraid that he will miss his steps and injure himself. So I asked him, Charles, what is the reason of you suddenly stopping all this? You know, this is what you love most. You enjoy this. And why would you stop something that you love so much? And his answer really broke my heart and made me really think really hard. His answer was, Cecilia, I stopped dancing because I'm afraid that because of dementia, I will not be able to dance the way people expect me to dance. And that was a wake-up call for me. It made me think that dementia doesn't exist in a vacuum. It really depends on us. He stopped dancing not because of his diagnosis, not because it was painful, not because he's afraid of falling down. He stopped dancing because of us, because he feels embarrassed that he will not be able to meet our expectations as a society. So we play a very important role, whether we support a person living with dementia or we do the opposite. So that really made me think very hard and made me take my journey very seriously to become an advocate and an activist in dementia, because I'm sure there is more than one Charles. A lot of friends that I know also stop whatever they are doing because they are afraid of what people will say, what the society will say. A lot of them stop if they are church leaders and they are prayer group leaders, and they are and they have been very active in their religious community, stop doing so because they are so afraid that they will not be able to perform as before. And I think we have to wake up to realize that we are a part of it, and we do make a lot of difference, and that's why we are here to learn. So a lot of us, I think, let's just pause and think. When we hear the word dementia, there are images that comes immediately to our brain. We have ideas, we have concepts. So what do dementia look like? You know, I have a friend of mine, and I can't put her picture here because and she is a friend of mine diagnosed to have vascular dementia, and she wanted to be a advocate, but again, because of stigma, her children, daughter and sons, disagree that she would allow me to use her pictures and her videos that she made. Unfortunately, she made video for me, but I can't use it today because her family, her daughter and her son, decided against it. They said this, and I quote, "Mom, it would be so embarrassing if you go out and announce that you have dementia. It will have a major impact on our profession, on our career." And mind you, these people are professionals. These are lawyers and accountants, and they have that huge stigma when it comes to dementia. It's something to be ashamed of. And they want their mom's diagnosis to be hidden and not to be acknowledged because it will cause them great embarrassment. So much so that they feel that it will have a direct impact on their career. And that is how strong the stigma is that I can't use the face today. So what do you think that dementia will look like? In reality, this is what dementia looks like. And this is at our center in Malaysia, a daycare center. And we call it a club. From the picture here, I am very sure you will not be able to distinguish who are living with dementia and who are not. In reality, dementia does not have a certain look, right? But it is not our fault because we have been conditioned and we have been brainwashed by the media, by the narratives, by the literature, by the films, advertisement on dementia. And usually the construction, and this is how they construct people living with dementia. And this is a book, actually. It is a book about dementia. And we just look at the title itself, The Living Death. Right? And these are medical journals. These are journals from medical articles. And this the way that the words that they use, the living dead. It is like zombies. So they equate people living with dementia as zombies. And you and I know zombies are the least attractive labels. You know, we don't mind Dracula because women always swoon over Dracula because Dracula is so handsome, so masculine, and they have these strong qualities and superpowers and all that, but not zombie. Zombie looks awful and they smell awful and they look awful and they walk very slow and they are not quite dead and yet they are dead. So can you imagine when we equate people living with dementia as zombies? Right? And politicians have even gone to so much to say that dementia sufferers have a duty to die. You know, they are using all our resources. You know, they are taking our space, taking our time, spending our resources. They might as well just die. And I quote, right? And then we have all these narratives that we use, silver tsunamis of the 21st century, dementia tsunami, and it's not, it's all over, it's globally this year. When we come to tsunami, it's something that we are very fearful of, and it's a natural disaster. So when we equate Alzheimer's into tsunami, we are saying that this is a disaster and it is natural and it's coming and ruining our lives. So again, we are being reinforced and reminded and conditioned about the negative narratives when it comes to dementia, right? So we have this, when we just Google dementia, we have all sorts of images and most of it are really horrifying like this. I Googled and I found this, the horror of dementia. And I want to see, and these are the subtle advertisements. And quite interestingly, this was released in America. It's not in Malaysia. We do not advertise drugs, but this is Malaysia. This is in America, and it has been approved by the FDA quite recently to be used in dementia to control behaviors when it comes to dementia. And I'll let you watch this, and please be mindful and see how you feel and what is the message, what is the subtle message this advertisement brings. It is actually to promote a drug, but the message is very strong. I wouldn't, and I said subtle, but it's actually not so subtle. It's quite obvious. Let's watch this.
My mom's Alzheimer's never changed how much we love her, but it did change her. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. She started yelling, pacing around, kept repeating the same questions. She got agitated often, so we asked her doctor for help. Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
So what do you think? Have you heard about, did you actually pay attention to the side effects? The side effects are huge and they're advertising it, but then there's a little disclaimer that says, oh, it's very uncommon. And they use this medication. This is actually a antipsychotic, and it has been approved by the FDA as a medication to treat behaviors in dementia, such as aggression. Again, it has got a very strong message to say that people living with dementia would get aggressive. And if they get aggressive, give them this. So we are expecting to see your doctor and get medicated.
My mom's Alzheimer's. My mom's
Right, so dementia is now the #1 most feared condition in the world, and it's also true in Malaysia. And it's so, people fear it so much that Janet, she's my age. I'm 53, so at age of 53, when she was just diagnosed to have early onset of Alzheimer's, she was the first one to actually get euthanasia. And she was just early diagnosis. So when it comes to other diseases, usually when we know that we have other illnesses, whether we have arthritis or even cancer, we will seek treatment. If we feel that there's a chest pain or breathless or fever, we would go and seek medical treatment and try to find out what is the issue and get treatment. But it's very rare that when someone feels that they have some issues with their brain, there's some cognitive changes, they are aware of it and they delay getting an assessment, getting a diagnosis because of the stigma. Because what if I'm diagnosed with dementia? Just like my friend Charles, once you have got that label, being demented, everything changed. You're not a human person anymore. People will take over your lives. People will decide what for you, where to stay, what to eat, where to go, and you're not a person anymore, right? So that's why one of the reasons why in Malaysia we try to avoid and delay getting a diagnosis until when people come to us, it is often a very quite moderate or it's a late onset. It's on a late stage of dementia when it's quite when we can see the significant changes in their cognitive abilities, and this is all related to stigma, right? And there's huge. I just picked up a few, but there's a lot of research that goes to prove that it's because of the stigma that people are not getting a diagnosis because they don't want the label. They don't want to be known as having a dementia, or we call that demented. Yeah, so we don't want to get that. So it's better to avoid it and sweep it under the carpet and try to ignore it until we can't cope anymore. But then we must realize that, like all stigmas, a stigma doesn't just exist out of nowhere. Stigma are actually all socially constructed. It is constructed by us. Who decides that a person is abnormal? Who decides who is normal? Who decides who belongs to the society? Who decides who doesn't belong to the society? It is us. We as a community, we as a society decide who belong to this community and who are the outcasts. The stigma are socially constructed. So the wonderful story, the wonderful news behind the stigma is, if it's socially constructed, then we as a community can also deconstruct it, right? So because of the stigma, one of the impact which is very prevalent, which is very common, is social isolation, right? Because if I am very aware that I will not be able to lead the prayers as usual, I will not be able to maybe cook my food as expected, or like child, I'm not be able to dance as what people expect me to, then I will disassociate myself. I will not go to the church anymore. I will not mix up with my friends anymore. I will not join my religious community anymore, because I'm very conscious of people finding out and people labeling me. And then I will say that, oh, I will give all sorts of excuses so that I stay at home and I isolate myself. Now, there's also another part of the other way, that is people who know, if I've got dementia and my friends find out, and I would behave in a way that they feel that is abnormal, if I keep on asking the same questions over and over again, or I may behave in ways that they may not accept, I may forget, I may wear inappropriate clothes, I may go out without my shoes, I may, leave my bra in the oven, that sort of thing. And people just do not know how to cope with me. So then they will stop inviting me over. They will stop inviting me to their house, to their dinner parties, to their prayer groups and all that. So it works both ways. I isolate myself and people also begin to cut away from me. And so when this happens, I become socially isolated. And we all know that social isolation is one of the predisposing factors to dementia. The more socially isolated we are, the more we are not using our brain synapses, the more neurons die. So it kind of is a vicious cycle, right? And let's look at how we evaluate. That's why in my team, in my center, we do not use these scales to measure people, because the scales that we use, we often look at what do we often look? Come on. We look at what a person cannot do anymore, right? Now she can't recognize names anymore. Now she cannot use language anymore. Now she can't feed herself anymore. She doesn't know how to use a toilet anymore. So when I look at people's disabilities, then what I tend to do is take over. And I will ignore the skills that the person that have. I will ignore what they still have and just look at what they don't have. Look at their losses. So this is again, when we use assessment, it's looking at the negative, looking at the loss, instead of let's see what the person still have and let's make the most of what the person still have, right? So when look at dementia, very quickly, we all know that there are two changes going on. This is just for us to understand. There are structural changes. Yes, the brain is shrinking because the neurons are dying. And there are also chemical changes. The neurotransmitter are inadequate, so there is not enough chemicals, and then the neurons are dying, the brain cells are dying, right? And I like this, I use this all the time. Dr. Allen's updated definition of dementia, and I quote, Dr. Allen says that dementia is a shift in a way a person experiences the world around him or her. And just like you and I, how we experience our world is very different, because we are all brought up differently. We all have our world experiences from birth till now. Our education, our culture, our values, our religion, our family, our work life, etc., shape us to be who we are today. And how we look at the world and how we perceive the world, depending on what shaped us, right? And so a person with dementia, because of the brain changes They experience the world again very uniquely different from us. And each person with dementia is just as unique like you and I. Because before they develop dementia, they are human beings first, right? Any one of us may develop dementia. I may develop dementia one day. We'll never know. But when I develop dementia, my way of looking at the world and my way of experiencing the world and my experience of dementia is uniquely mine because I am me, right? If Zetu develops dementia one day, her experience will be totally different from mine because she has a whole way of understanding the world, her condition and her perspective, her experiences, very different from mine. So when you see one person living with dementia, you only see one. So when we understand this, that dementia is a shift in the way a person experiences the world, everything changes because then we begin to appreciate what a person is going through now. Instead of labeling them, oh, they're aggressive, we are trying to understand their world and what they're experiencing each time, right? So I like to watch this very shortly. This very strong and meaningful video. It talks about a person living with dementia. This is a gentleman who actually became disorientated in an aeroplane when the wife left to go to the toilet, and how the people around him, you and I, the community, the society, can actually harm him or support him. So it shows how powerful we are as an individual, as in a community, how we can break or support the person living with dementia.
Don't point at me! Don't you point at me!
What?
There's got to be a door somewhere. Wait, is there a door?
Oh, no, dude, you can't reach the door, dude.
What?
Yes, there is.
I can't get here.
Hello.
No, I don't want to be here. Where's the door? I have to...
Chill, man. We're in the air. We're in the
Who are
air.
you?
Calm down, calm down.
Who are you? I don't know you.
What is going on here? Don't touch me.
You see this here, sir?
No, I know I'm not supposed to be here. No. Why are you people looking at me like that?
So we need you to
What?
Is there a woman with you? Do you know what she looks?
Get off of me, man. Don't be touching me, man. Who are you?
Dude, sit down.
No. Who are you? Why is everyone
Sit
looking
down.
at me?
Chill.
Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me. I know. I gotta get out of here. Get away from me. Go away. I don't want to be here. Why am I here? Where am I? What is going on? Where am I? Whoa, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? No, don't touch me, man! Get your hands off of me! Don't touch me! What are you looking at? Go away! What is wrong with you people? Get away from me! Go away! Get away from me!
Get off my husband. Wait. Calm down. He has dementia, you guys. Wait.
Who are you? Don't touch me either!
It's me, baby.
Don't touch me!
Oh, hey, don't touch her. Hey, get her away from him. Get her away from him.
Who are you? Get away, man!
Hey, guys.
Go away, dude,
Hey,
man!
guys.
Go away!
Hey, get off my husband. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Down and go back to his
Yes.
seat.
Oh, my God.
Honey,
You have to- you guys
what
have to
happened?
sing
What's
it.
going on?
You are my sunshine.
What?
My only
Go away!
winter.
What are you looking at? Sit down! Why are you people? Sit down!
It's okay.
So who are you? Stop touching me!
Hey.
What are you looking at? You! I see you be fucking away from me! Go away!
I'm not going to touch
What is with the people?
Go back to your seat, sir.
He has dementia.
Stay
I
in
need
your
you guys
seat.
to help
Don't
me
look at
calm
me like
down.
that.
Just help me sing.
What do we do?
Just help me sing.
Why you don't point at me? Don't you point at me!
I won't
You hear me?
Sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love
Right. So I think that was a very powerful video to show that actually we all play a very important role, a very vital role in providing a support so that a person living with dementia can continue to live well, right? So the experience of dementia is actually social. Like I said, like we human beings, we exist in the world and we exist in relation with each other. So the experience of dementia is actually not personal, but it's social. Dementia is experienced mostly on an interpersonal relationship. That's why we are so fearful of dementia, right? It is an interpersonal relationship by persons living with dementia and everyone surrounding him, which is you and I. So how does this relate and translate to our daily lives? And I'm going to share about the Malaysian scenario, about our struggle, the stigma, the stereotyping, and the misunderstanding. And this is on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to share real life scenarios, real life stories. Yeah. So the Malaysians, our true stories, and to debunk our myth. Okay. So this is story. It's very heartbreaking, but this is a real story of somebody, a lady who was a retired teacher and living by herself. And the fact that the children have migrated abroad, so she's living alone. That's pretty quite common in Malaysia. And so diagnosed to have Alzheimer's, so they were trying to persuade her to move to a facility because they felt that it's no more safe for her to live alone, so she refused. So what they did one day was they drugged her food. Okay, so they put the sedative into her drink and she drank and she slept. And so then when she was asleep, they drove her to a nursing home. And the next day when she woke up, lo and behold, she's in a brand new place. And so she was totally disorientated. She was scared. She was anxious. Yesterday, I was sleeping on my bed. When I woke up, I'm in this strange place with 20 new people that I do not know. I have to share space with 20 new people. People touch me. People have to undress me. They touch my body. And what happened to all my property? What happened to all my things? I only have one bag of clothing. Everything is gone. And they seem to get very surprised when she get angry, when she get frustrated, and when she get anxious. Does any one of you, if you're in her shoes, okay, if you are drugged and the next morning you wake up and you find yourself in a strange place, losing everything, how would any of you behave? Is it a normal thing? Yet when she shows signs of anxiety, when she asked to go home, when she was anxious, they tie her up, they drugged her. So when she started to shout and when she was fighting for her life, and when she was struggling to be set free, to be sent home from her prison, they had to restrain her. They restrained her and they tied her up. And this happened in a facility in Malaysia. Okay. And when we call a secure dementia unit, means that a person will be safe inside a place. And so the doors are locked. And you will not, then once you are in the secure place, you have no way of coming out. So does this kind of place give you a sense of security? Do you feel good? Would any one of you feel wonderful to stay here? It can be a very luxurious building, but it's an enclosed, walled-out building where people take away everything, your sense of humanhood, your dignity, your sense of agency. Yet you're safe, you're safe because you will not go out, you will not go anywhere, you'll be locked in this place. But is this what we want as human beings? Does this give us a sense of well-being? This is one of our clients. When I asked him to describe his feelings, he did this. And I asked him, what do you mean? What is this? What does this mean? And he explained, this round, yellow round thing is me. I am here. And all this is my prison. There am I living all alone in my prison. He was describing to me his living arrangement in a locked security unit. This is another client of mine when we were using Play-Doh, and she constructed this with Play-Doh. She's living with late stage of Alzheimer's. And I asked her, what does this symbolize? Does this have any meaning? And she said, yeah, this is me. You can see the fat legs here. Yeah, I wish to have legs. She's a very thin and scrawny lady. So she said, I wish to have big fat legs here so that I can have strong, so that I can walk, so that I can run. And I want to have a big head that cover my face and cover me so that people will stop staring at me, pointing at me and judging me. And this is me and my gentleman. And this is outside our center in Malaysia. And this is the gentleman who has got zero ability to communicate. He's non-verbal. And once upon a time, he was a renowned engineer, had a very high position, and now he's not able to communicate. And so people think that if you are not able to communicate, you are nothing. You know, you are not a human being anymore. But can you see how intimate we are and how we are connected and how we were sharing the moments? And this is another client who felt that a sense of uselessness, you know. All of us exist because there is a meaning of life. We exist for a reason, a sense of wonderment, a sense that we are here to do something, to contribute something to the world, to mean something. And she felt useless because now she has got Alzheimer's and she can't contribute. She used to be a homemaker. She used to be provider for her children. She used to take care of the family. She used to cook. And now she can't do anything. She's just sitting down doing nothing. And she, just feel horrible. And she says, I'm useless. I might as well die. Why do I exist for? And so when we asked her to fold this is called Kim Chua, which is golden paper. This is a paper where in our tradition, our Chinese tradition, if we fold it and then we burn it, when the act of folding it means when we fold it, you will give blessings to your families, your loved ones. So when you fold it, the more you fold, the more blessings you will bestow on your family. So by doing this simple activity, she felt that she is still able to contribute. She is able, her existence means something because by folding it, her family are being blessed. So it is us how we use our creativity to help people with dementia gain meaning. So by doing this, she continues to laugh and she continues to come to our center and activities that's meaningful to make her feel that she is still worthy. It still makes sense to be alive every day. She wakes up, there's a reason to be alive. Just like you and I, right? And this is another lady with end stage of Alzheimer's. So the family said that she has totally given up. She's given up. She's useless, demented, gone. She cannot talk. She's non-verbal. She's not able to talk. She refused to eat. So they think that she can't swallow. So they try to, blend everything and she spit it out. She refused. And so she just lie on bed the whole day, just waiting to die. Because once upon a time, she was a very devout Catholic and she was a church leader and a very capable woman. But now that she is on a wheelchair and she's got Alzheimer's, so she's given up. So when she came to us, I remember that she is a very devout Catholic. And this is what I mean by when we assess a person. If I look at her and say, oh, she can't do this, she can't talk, she can't, communicate, she can't walk, and I assess her and I look at all the things that she cannot do, there's nothing I can do. I will just then take over, I'll feed her, I'll plan the food, and I will, let her lie in bed because there's nothing much I can do because she's not motivated. But if I look at the skills, what she still has retained left, I can change that. And that's what I urge you and I to do. So knowing that in Alzheimer's, in this part of the brain that is retained pretty much to the end is the right part of the brain, which includes rhythm, which includes music, poetry, and creativity. Knowing that she used to be a church leader, I went to my car, grabbed my rosary and told her, let's say the rosary. And initially we held the rosary together. Within the next speech, she took over and she could recite the whole rosary, the whole decade by herself, automatic. And this is a person who is totally non-verbal, and she recites the whole rosary. And when the rosary ends, and I ask her, so shall we dedicate this prayer? And how shall we dedicate? And she said, I'll pray for my family, I pray for my sister, I pray for my friends, I pray for the world. And after the rosary, I said, I'm hungry. I'm going to grab something to eat. Would you like to eat something? And then we shared a meal. We shared some snacks. And this is a person who refused to take anything, including water, refused, even blended diet. And now she could help herself. She was feeding herself. We were just having a good time, laughing and chatting and eating. And this is what I mean by if we look at the person, not the dementia, look at what the person is, look at what the skills they have, and recognize that and work with the person, we can make a lot of difference if we do not look at the stigma and the label that we associate with dementia. What gives us a sense of well-being? So this is our client, and one of them is really into self-care, into manicure, pedicure, facial. We bring them back to give them that. That's their sense of identity. Okay? And there's another lady who used to be a chef. She used to start cook her own, own her own restaurant and cook meals. And now she comes back when she's in our center. She is the chef. She prepares meals. And of course, with assistance, but this is automatic. They've been doing it all the while. And there's so much joy. Even though half an hour later, she can't recall that she has prepared a meal for us, but it is the moment, and there was immense joy, and we shared the moment. And that's what gives us meaning and well-being, right? And this is a gentleman. And that is our manager, Jess, with a gentleman. And this gentleman was labeled as aggressive and psychotic and BPSD and being thrown out from 2 nursing homes and being thrown out to a psychiatric ward because he was aggressive. He wanted to go home. But this gentleman was a marathon runner. He was a hiker. He used to hike twice a day. He used to run the marathon. He used to join the hash group, an athlete. And now you confine him to a secluded unit that he can't even come out from his room. He can't even have his own space. He can't decide where to eat, what to eat. And because when he demands for his basic human rights, you denied it from him. So when he exerted himself by showing, certain ways, we label him as being aggressive. And he was admitted to a psychiatric unit for months. And when he was discharged, he was totally, zombified because of the antipsychotics. And later when he came to us and started coming to us, the first time when he came to us, like, this man was amazing, such a gentleman. He has still a lot of abilities. He could sing, he could teach us his Cantonese, he could socialize. And when we do not listen, you can see our place is not enclosed. It's an open space. We allow you to roam about. You can go out. We do not lock our gates. And when he see that there's not even one time that he wants to escape, not even one time that he was like this aggressive. He was a delight to be with. And now a lot of people are saying, it's even his friends are so surprised to see him so articulate. He's able to communicate. He's able to enjoy meals, to enjoy social gatherings. And it's because we see the human being and not the label, right? And this is another, this is me and our client, and we were doing dishes. So this is a lady who is also moderate dementia and who used to be a housewife, and she loves housework. She loves cooking, she loves cleaning, but they have stopped her from doing all this because she makes mistakes. So she will put the dish, the clean dishes into the mix with the dirty dishes, and she'll put the dirty dishes into the cupboard and all that. So she needs an assistant, but we have no problem with her. So she would be washing happily, and I will be her assistant, and we'll be chatting, and that gives her the normality again, you know, the sense of well-being. And then we appreciate her. Thank you for helping us out. So our activities are very person-centered. And this is what I mean by when each person is very different and unique. So a person experiences dementia also in a very unique way, right? So let us change. I think it is time that we must change the narrative. Change the narrative from how tragic to how can I support this person. We need new ways of thinking and speaking about dementia beyond the deficit-based models, because the most of the models that we have now are looking at the loss, at looking at what a person cannot do anymore. How can that help us, right? So when we use that kind of model, definitely it will result in us using the tragic narratives, looking at what a person cannot do anymore, and that perpetuates the stigma, perpetuates the label. So I think now that we need a new way of looking at dementia. And this is us and our clients preparing a meal together where we served our guests in a cafe, right? So this is a project that I would like to share, and I hope that maybe you can do it in South Africa too. You know, it's not that difficult. We call it the Forgotten Mutiara Cafe. Okay, Mutiara is our language, which means pearl, and we felt that pearl kind of symbolizes dementia in Malaysia, because a pearl, when we talk about the pearl, when we look at the pearl, we look at the ugly shell. The shell is very unattractive, it's very dirty, and sometimes we find it pretty repulsive. But if we pry open the shell and we look inside, there's a beautiful, precious gem, which is the pearl. So often in dementia, we only look at the loss, we only look at the disabilities, we forget that underneath that, there's still a beautiful, amazing person inside. So we forgot the pearl. So we call our cafe the Forgotten Mutiara. Now, this is a pop-up cafe. We turn our center into a cafe, a real cafe where we prepare meals, we prepare from scratch, and we transform our center into a cafe, and we prepare our beverages, and we serve our guests who come. And the idea is to create an all-inclusive society, you know, the community, people from different backgrounds, from different generations coming together, different cognitive abilities coming together, regardless. We can come together and support each other, come together as human beings collectively and celebrate life. No matter how different, we are still one, created by one same creator, and we are here to celebrate life together. And this is what we did. So you can see that our clients were like really, professionals. They were barrister before, they were chefs before. And these are all their skills. So they come together and we work together as a team, as a crew, to create this pop-up Forgotten Mutiara Cafe. And I'll show a video of it.
Dementia is one of the most stigmatized conditions, and I think it is time that we do something about it.
You and I are like trees in the forest, equal and strong in any weather. Joy in the sunshine, bow and bend with the rain. Our roots grow together, we are like birds of a feather. You lead and I lead, we get there together. You hear my song, you sing along and we fly. It's a new day, it's a new way. It's a new day, it's a new way. Let's reimagine. It's a bold day, let's create a world where everyone can try. A together day where the joy of one is the joy of all alive. It's a fearless day, it's a hopeful way. Let's reimagine. Mari baharu kita hasilkan dunia untuk semua. Satu hari di mana semua berkongsi kebahagiaan. Sentiasa berani penuh harapan kita bayangkan. We are like flowers that stand our garden. Given the space, we all can blossom. Different ability, gorgeous diversity grows. We thrive together. We are the change that is needed. Come join the change as we see it. Mari kita cubalah bayangkan dunia kita yang penuh harapan. We are the change that is needed. Come join the change as we see it. Mari kita cubalah bayangkan dunia kita yang penuh harapan. It's a bold day, let's create a world where everyone can thrive. A together day where the joy of one is the joy of all our life. It's a fearless day, it's a hopeful way. Let's reimagine.
Dementia is one of the most stigmatized. Dementia is one of the most
Right, this is my last slide. So I would like to end by stating this, that if we want change, we all want change, but change can only start with you and I. Change can only start with us. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we have to clap hands to Cecilia. Thank you so much. I'm so moved. I'm almost in tears. And thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. It's so warm. It's so genuine. I can feel the passion. I think Matanda would like to add something here, just a few words of thanks to you, and also maybe just a summary of what is it that resonates for us in South Africa, around what you talked about today, Matanda.
Greetings, good evening, and good afternoon. Dr. Cecilia, as that you has mentioned, the passion that you have, I've just seen it right on your face, that what you are doing because you have the passion of doing it. Sometimes we never receive a pat on our shoulders, but there are people that are being helped. You know, when you're talking about stigma, I read a quote, which I'm just going to share about it, that stigma is a set of negative and often unclear beliefs that the society or the group of people have about something. And you just shared the myths that people have about people living with dementia, the isolation. My take home was actually just the last thing that you just said, that we need to create community and coming together. So to avoid and even to help our community to understand about dementia instead of having the stigma and isolating these people, we have to have a community that comes together and we talk about this dementia. You know, thank you so much. I've learned so much that here in South Africa, in Lamontville, in KZN, I would love people of Lamontville to know what is dementia and not have these myths and not have these unclear beliefs, and then stop having stigma and discrimination. We label them with all kinds of names. And hence, as you have mentioned, by labeling families, they don't come forward for diagnosis. By the time our clients come to us, they're in an advanced stage. So, but it's because of that stigma and that discrimination. Thank you so, so much.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I know that I'm hoping that we do have time just for some questions that can be directed to Cecilia or anyone, please. Yes, please, anyone who want to say something or any question to Cecilia.
Not only to me, but also to the team.
Yes, yeah, to anybody. Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. So people can just unmute and speak.
I'm CYV. I'm from Malaysia.
Okay.
I just want to thank Dr. Cecilia and every one of you here. I mean, it's a very good feeling of I'm not alone. My mom is early stage dementia. I felt very lost. I have been also watching YouTubes and all that. And of course, many siblings around, we also have different opinions. Sometimes I think it's harder to get everybody to be on the same page, you know. But I'm glad today. One thing I take away from Dr. Cecilia is don't focus on what she doesn't have anymore, but focus on what she has. And I think what she has is what she liked to do when she was younger. So I can see that. I can see that, and I think it's helping me a lot. And I really hope that we have a support group somehow. I mean, from here onwards, so that we can maybe meet every 1 month just to let out. I'm not a full-time caregiver. I only have her for Saturdays, but that's enough. I think, you know, if I'm a full-time caregiver, I'll be even more stressful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you can actually put your, you can contact me since you're in Malaysia. My phone number is 013-438-4388. We do have a dementia support group in Malaysia. I know you, so if we happen to be around your area, we could meet up with you and see how we can support you in person. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm just reading on the chat here, said, I think it's Sun Fuk Fong, caretakers at home are not trained to support the relatives suffering from dementia. Please advise, TQ. I don't know. So this is, I assume this is, I don't know, Malaysia? That's to you, yeah?
Sounds like a Malaysian name,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
I think that is the issue. I think, I'm not sure if you face it in South Africa, because dementia is very unique, you know, and most of the courses that's available in Malaysia, it's very general and generic. It's like geriatric care, how to bathe a person, how to feed a person, how to change a person, how to turn a person. It's very, very basic, fundamental on aged care. But when it comes to dementia, everything shifts. And again, it is very different from one person to a person, depending on the types of dementia. We won't go into that details. And again, in Malaysia, we do not have that specific training. So there's a lot of struggle, and that's why there's a lot of abuse, because people do not have the skills to support. And that's why there's a lot of abuse in the homes, and there's a lot of abuse in the care facilities, because there's no training. They do not have the skills and the tools to support. You know, so that's something that is really lacking in Malaysia. And that's what we have started in Penang, that we start our workshops, our workshops and our training sessions are very focused on skills, not on theory as in what is dementia, the types of dementia, but on issues like communication. What happens when a person is non-verbal? What happens when a person is not able to communicate, cannot use language? What happens when a person is refused to bathe, for example? And all that. These are day-to-day challenges, and we are very so we tailor make our workshops on the day-to-day challenges, so that it makes sense. And we hope that we will be able to introduce the modules across Malaysia. And we are very slow in that, like we don't have any policies in Malaysia. They have been talking about it forever. It's not happening. So we decided to do something on our own. So hopefully that it will, spread.
Thank you. Can I just add something on what you've just said? I think in South Africa, even though I'm here, obviously, I know a lot about what's going on there. South Africa, as everybody knows, it's a first world and it's a third world at the same time. So the people who've got the money are the ones who can, access the best support. I'm not saying just because you've got money, you get the best support, because of course they're beautiful, what you call nursing homes. They look like 5-star hotels, but there's also very, very poor run ones where there's no training. So obviously a lot of abuse goes on. But unfortunately, we also have in our own culture where we have a long way to go in terms of raising awareness around dementia. The government doesn't support us. They hardly talk about anything. I'll leave politics aside. But the organization, BMF, Basic Marketing Foundation, we are the ones basically who are targeting our own community. We go to churches, we go to, even this evening, Madonna is going to a radio station, and we obviously offer support to carers. So we offer training, we offer all the things that you're talking about. And the challenge we have is that we're a very small organization where we don't get any funding whatsoever. We really would like to be able to go further and support families for nothing. Most people can pay very expensive kind of courses for their carers to go there, but if you don't have the money, you've got nothing. So we target those people, but we also ourselves are drowning because we don't have the resources, but we do the best that we can. So people got in touch with us. They talk about behavior as a challenge when somebody's smearing, somebody's hallucinating, somebody's getting lost. We have to respond to those kind of needs by actually supporting families, right? That is how we focus on that. But the sad thing in South Africa, we've had few people who've been murdered, forget about it, literally murdered because they wandered off and then they were found maybe at night, going to somebody else's place, and then they were mistaken as witches at night. I mean, I've never met a witch, I don't know, maybe they operate at night, but people have been murdered, raped, houses burnt down. So we have those kind of issues in South Africa, especially in our communities. And we're trying very, very hard with very little support from the government to address that, because people will come and say, don't do this thing to elderly people. But for us, we're saying, do more, educate the community, support families, make sure that people know where to go if they're concerned. But unfortunately, we don't have that, and we've got a long way to go. That is why, as an organization, we have to reach out to people in one way or the other. If it's about newspapers, the radio stations, knocking at people's doors, going to churches where we find people, that is how we actually invite people to come to us and support them. So we have a long way to go, but we can talk about it as long as we're doing something. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody would like to say something. I can see John O'Neill here. Sorry, because I've been looking at you the whole time. Sorry, John. Yes. Yeah, hello. Yeah. So if you have to, if are you talking, because you have to unmute if you are
Oh,
talking.
yes. There's a question for you from Edwin. Edwin is a friend. Is dementia specialized care facility common? Is it exist in Malaysia? Dementia specialized facilities. Dementia, facilities that specialize in dementia. Is it pretty common in Africa?
No. I can say in South Africa, there are lots of residential facilities where people saying, this is for dementia. But in most cases, it's private. The government does not, there's nothing that is run by the government for people living dementia. And hardly, very, very few people go for diagnosis. Very, very few people, because they don't even know. How can you go for a diagnosis when you even know what dementia is, right? So the people that come to us are people who are very, very advanced. And some of them, they die because as a result of dementia or other kind of complications, and there's no clear referral pathway for people in South Africa to go and be seen by the doctors. And most doctors are kind of like not trained as geriatricians. They just offer a lot of psychotropic medication, like you mentioned, and people have got side effects. They just think that the doctors gave me the medication, I should be grateful because it's treating dementia, whereas it's actually antipsychotic medication and with massive side effects, and people have no knowledge. So we educate people, we challenge, the medical profession, we empower families to be able to challenge the doctors. Why are you taking this medication? Do you know why? They said I was given, nothing was explained. So we have a long, long, long way to go. So I'm hoping that as we're beginning this partnership with people from Malaysia, and I think we should all be doing this together, we're just going to have more conversations. And next week, we are going to have a colleague of mine who is based in the UK, clinical psychologist, who will be talking about how to care as a carer, and then somebody else the next week. So we're going to have few people that we will bring to this space. And unfortunately for people in Malaysia, it's going to be midnight or very late. I'm sure people will sort of use an alarm to get up so that they can actually get up and listen, because I think just before we started, which Cecilia was saying, we can wait for things to happen. But if we start somewhere as a community, as people, I think we can get somewhere else. And I'm hoping that despite the challenges of the time, zones, we will make sure that we can meet as regularly as we can and actually build this community and work together and support each other. Yeah, so thank you. So
looks like John wants to comment.
Oh, John, are you going to say something?
Well, the only comment that I would make is that I've learned a great deal from Cecilia's talk this evening, although I see her quite often and involve myself with her centre. But it's really lovely to see this, how can I put it, a new approach to dementia, rather than just putting them, people living with dementia, into that box of psychotic, stuff. So
Thank you, John. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thanks, John. But yeah, you just switched on your video just now. As you're talking, your video were off.
Oh, right, I see. Okay.
We heard everything you said, though. Thank you so much. Yes. Right.
Yes,
Okay. I think I know people in Lamech have got to go to bed. We want to say again, thank you so much. And thanks a lot, Cecilia, for giving your time to come and do this wonderful presentation. And I hope we'll see each other next week when we are going to be meeting with other people. And then they're on, hopefully, every month, like someone suggested, or even more time. And as long as we can bring different people, can share with us their knowledge and skills. And then maybe we can talk more about what we're doing in South Africa. Madanda sort of doing a presentation about the Basic Marketing Foundation in South Africa, what we're trying to do, just like how Cecilia presented it. But it's been very moving, and thank you so much, and have a good evening. Yes, thank you so much. Goodbye. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Yeah. Okay, bye. Yes.
Good night. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for hosting. Thank you for speaking. Bye-bye, girls.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
How do you get out of all of this? I don't really understand very much about all this technology.
Don't you worry.
Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There's still people trying to leave, so I'll just take that time. Yeah.
Good night. Good night from Malaysia. Bye.
Yes, good night from Malaysia. Yes, good afternoon from England. It was still early here. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zetu. Thank you, Madanda.
Thank you.
It's Asia.
Oh, Asia. Thank you.
Had to close. Sorry, close. Zoom.